So everybody got their food on? Everybody got their food on? We're resuming in about 5 minutes or less. And for those who are watching online, we are getting back to it. And of course, if you have your questions, make sure that you have them ready. We start with the questions before we give Dr. Mikey the opportunity to finish up our presentation. And make sure you network. And if you want your professional headshot, do not leave. We try to make sure that we get them before you go. And please leave us either your number or your email, where we can send you the link, or you can check our Facebook page. We try to post the link on there too, where you can go get your picture. On the Facebook page is Resurrected Christ International Church. Thank you. right, my time is up. Our 5 minutes are over. Everybody, if you're not on the table, can we get back and get seated on our tables? Our panelists, we head back on stage. We have a big old trash in the back, just in case you want to trash something or you need help trashing something. As a reminder for those of you who are watching us online, it's our career day. We try to hold it at least once a year at this church. And we are our Resurrected Christ International Church. I got some more instructions for your headshot. Apparently it wasn't too safe to post the link on Facebook. So there's an RSVP number on the flyer. When they're ready, if you need it, please text that number and say that you need the link to the pictures, and we make sure that you need it and send the link to you. And the pictures are going to be on there for a few days, and then we're going to take them down. So as soon as you get the link, make sure that you download. So if you can get back and get seated. While Dr. Mackey is also coming up back on stage. We need to figure out.
All right. So while we get Dr. Mackey set up, we're going to get started. So just before the break, we started talking about business and investing, and we had a very good conversation during the break with Chris and Tyson, and so we want to pick up from there while we get Mark time to get back to his moderation. So Chris, let's start. Let's pick up from there. So a lot of people say, okay, now I've gone to school, and now I have a job. I'm making maybe 6 figure or 20,000. Can be a broader spectrum than that. What do I do with this money? How do I just make the money? You talk about living paycheck and depending on this one job and being feared that you get fired because it's one stream of income. But now I get the money and I'm trying to open other business. What do I do with this money to make myself better to become a millionaire?
Okay, so I'm going to simplify this as much as possible. And I want to give a little context. Where I grew up in Cleveland, it wasn't necessarily the best side of town. It was the east side of Cleveland, Lower East Side. And neither one of my parents went to college. My dad graduated from 8th grade. My mom graduated from high school. And so there wasn't a lot of insights in my family structure around money or where to get it from. And so when I started going into corporations and making money, I would do the same thing that other people around me did, is I went out and bought, flashy clothes, flashy cars, and I tried to live in, nice homes, period. And so I was dependent upon a paycheck every couple of weeks, period. Didn't understand how to get beyond that, but, it felt like, I guess this is the American way. That is not the American way, and that is the thing that will get you to being poor and dependent on someone else for the rest of your life. This is something you should just think about when it comes to money and finances. It's never how much you make. That is not the thing. It's what you do with your money, period. It's never how much you make. It's always what you do with what you make and the decisions that you make in life. Most of us have this need and desire for immediate gratification. Immediate gratification just means, oh, I'm hungry. Let me go grab some Chick-fil-A. Oh, I'm thirsty. Let me go get a bottle of Pepsi. Oh, I need a new pair of shoes. Let me just run a DSW and get me some new shoes. Oh, I ran out of money. Let me go grab my credit card. The problem with most of us is that, and me too, by the way, is that I don't like to delay my gratification. If I have a need in life, I want to get it fulfilled right away. The way that you make money and keep money is by this simple concept of delayed gratification. Delayed gratification just means I'm going to put off that Chick-fil-A sandwich today. I'm going to put off those new pair of shoes. I'm going to put off going to get my used car financed. Every one of those decisions will send you to the poorhouse because you don't understand how to delay gratification. Delaying gratification means buying nothing until you can pay for it with cash, up to and including a house. Period. Period. You. Go ahead.
No, that's good. Saying that's good.
Okay. So how do I get to the point where I'm actually able to do that? Like, how do I get there? First of all, stop using your periphery vision to determine your wealth in life. Periphery vision just means looking at your neighbors, looking at the people around you who are also dirt poor, but running around in Fila, whatever the heck it's called, the brand name of something. And we prioritize that because it feels like, well, yeah, that person has arrived. They can afford, Prada or Fila or Gucci or whatever it is. It's a lie. It's all a lie. It doesn't mean anything. Rich people don't look rich. They don't. Poor people look rich, but they're poor. They're living to impress you with something that they have on their back or have in their driveway, but they're poor. You stop them from earning that little bit of money and they'll be bankrupt tomorrow. So how do I actually create this different mindset? Because it's more of a mindset than it is a deliberate set of activities. The first thing about the mindset is delayed gratification, which means I can put off buying that new thing until I can afford it with the cash, and until I can afford it with the cash, I'm not going to have it. That's the first thing. Second thing is, no matter how much money you make, take a large percentage of it and set it aside every month. And I don't care if it's even $5 a week, because I started out with $5 a week. Every 20 weeks, I had $100. Took that $100 and I invested in something outside of myself. I'm going to tell you, and I didn't plan on doing this, but I'll do it because we're sitting here. My investment portfolio right now, I'm bringing it up live. My personal investment portfolio, and I guarantee you, if you go online and invest in any of these things, by the end of this year, you will have more money than you have right now. So I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom. Hope it's still a kingdom. Hope it's still a kingdom. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's see. I'm literally going into my bank account right now. So these are my immediate investments, and I know that these are secure, and if you have access to a bank account, you can go online and you can invest in these things for free. Savings accounts are like you throwing money away because they make less than 1%. It's you throwing money away. Inflation is 3.5 to 5, which means every day that your money sits in a savings account, you're losing money. You're getting further behind the power curve. It's generational, by the way, because if your parents did it, you're doing it. Don't do what your parents did. They're poor. Don't you be poor. Here's my investment thoughts for you. Let me see. I'm going to give you 5. Here we go. First one is Amazon. I bought Amazon last year at $2,000 a share. It's about $3,600 right now. Okay? You can't go wrong with buying Amazon right now. There's more Amazon trucks on the road than there are cars. Why? Because it's exploding. The stock is expensive, but, buy some, because it's going to be worth a lot more by the end of this year. Second one is Apple. If you don't own Apple right now, you're a crazy person. You're a crazy person. Why? Because it continues to go up. Why? Because, no, not the stock. Don't buy the phone, buy the stock. Number 3, Google. Google continues to explode every year. And if you don't own it, go out tonight and buy it. Microsoft and Facebook. Those are the easiest stocks to buy, and I can guarantee you, as soon as I'm sitting here on stage today, that if you invest right now in any of these stocks, and it's free, as soon as you open up a bank account, I don't care if you're at Chase, Bank of America, they all have this now, where you can go onto your account, and you can transfer your money from your savings account into one of these investments. And don't look at it every day or every other day. Don't even look at it once a month. Look at it like quarter, like every 3 or 4 months, and watch and see what happens to your investment. So if you had, let's say, $300 and you invested in these things, by the end of the year, this year, you'd have $300 and maybe 2 cents if you leave it in a savings account. Okay? I look at my investments maybe once a quarter, and it's an entire revenue stream that I didn't have to do anything for. I just know that these 4 accounts, which make up the majority of the New York Stock Exchange increase right now, they are the Dow Jones. And by the way, if I'm talking about things that you don't understand, don't worry about it. Just do what I'm telling you to do. Seriously, you'll be in a better financial situation. 3 things about getting into a better position financially. The first thing is, it's not about what you make, it's what you do with what you make. So a large percentage of every dollar you make should be set aside for your investment, your personal investment. That means don't loan it to your friends, don't go out and buy designer anything, do not go out and get a haircut or a hair did. Get your investment straight first. Seriously, don't worry about looking good, be good. Second, seriously, like do this. Second, once you've decided how much of your income that you can actually afford to save, don't tell anybody because they're going to talk you out of it. They're poor and they want you to be poor with them. Don't want to be poor. Surround yourself with people who are unlike you, people who have more money than they know what to do, and they will tell you the same thing. Take that money, put it in an investment that is going to grow for you. The second piece to this is delayed gratification. I think I talked about that earlier. Delayed gratification just means stop buying those things that you want right here today. Here's something that I asked the guys over here on the side. How many people have gone 24 hours without eating? Anything, just drinking water. See the hands that have gone up? Those people understand what discipline means. Why? Because after about 12 hours, man, your stomach starts rumbling and you start wanting to go get something to eat. At about 17, 18 hours, it's like, oh shoot, I better get something to eat. Like I'm really hungry. I got to get something. Okay, by the 24-hour period, you're like a different person. Okay, but that's also an example of discipline, which is what investment takes, discipline. It's denying yourself the immediate gratification and satisfaction of the food, and you delaying that such that you can actually have and do something different. And what happens after 24 hours when you eat? Man, it tastes good. Like seriously, you could eat a peanut and it tastes like a serious meal. It really does. It tastes, if you want, it does. It tastes like a steak because you haven't eaten it 24 hours. And so that delayed gratification actually piques your senses for your smell and taste. And so it's so much better. So the second thing is delayed gratification. Third thing is find somebody who is doing what you want to eventually do and ask them how they did it. Stop talking to poor people about being rich. They don't know how. Trust me. They're clueless. Find someone who you know has their act together financially and ask them one question. How'd you do it? Just say, how'd you do it? They will be more than willing to tell you exactly what they did to get to where they were, and then you go do that same thing. The problem with most of us is that we were like me. We came into poverty, we inherited it, and now it is generational, which means that unless you change your course of action, you're going to be just like your parents. And I'm not saying your parents are bad. Your parents are great because they had you and you're a great person because you're sitting here right now. But they don't know anything about money, trust me. So find people who do know something about money and investment and everything else. Surround yourself with those people and just say, hey, how'd you do it? Like, what'd you do? And you may not be able to do the exact same thing, but start incorporating some of the things that they're doing. And over time, it will pay dividends, literally and figuratively. So
that's why I found you, Chris.
I know, and yeah, we can give him a round of applause for that. This was definitely a one-off. We didn't plan to talk about this. We're going to have another career day where we're going to talk about money, finances, and all that. Once you start making the money after you pick the right career, or your entrepreneurship career, whatever you pick, what do you do once you get it? We're going to go to Dr. Maki, and she'll give us the presentation. I know I had one question for Chris. I can ask it now, you can answer later. You say you had 3 Porsche. Like, can you give away one of them? Like, all right, Dr. Maki, everybody. Can we give her a round of applause as she starts?
hear, oh, I do hear the mic. Okay, you can turn it down now. Okay, thank you. So, good afternoon, because now it's afternoon. Let me understand who's in the room so that I can tailor this and hopefully make it meaningful. So, tell me who you are and if you're currently in college, thinking about going to school, and you're fine. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So you guys are in high school? Okay. And you are seventh grade? Okay. All right. Very good. And my folks back here, are you thinking about going to school or? Okay, right now? Very good. Then you want to get the book. All right. Very good. I love your hair, by the way. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. So you have your degree. You thinking about going back for anything? There you go. How about you guys? Okay. All right. Great. And you're Miss South Africa, which which I love South Africa. I go every year. All right. And you're going to be a doctor. All right. Very good.
I'm Joel, otherwise Joey. I'm a physics consultant for Kite
Okay.
I do hockey and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Very good.
I'm Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Currently working in the financial service industry. I'm also going for a master's in finance at Yale.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll cut your study time in half because you're working and going to school, right? Hello. And that's a beautiful dress. Okay. So you're working and going to school, right? Are you working and going to school as well? You're going to school right now to be a teacher. That's wonderful. All right. And how about you? What grade are you in? You're going to the fourth grade. That's big time. You're in the fourth grade, and you love school, right? Yay, team. All right. And who's this handsome young man? What's your name? Aiden. And what grade are you in, Aiden? Second grade. Wow. Big time. Big time. Okay. And you know these two beautiful children. So, are you in school thinking about going back? Woo! Okay. 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 Excellent. Excellent. In school, thinking about school? Okay. All right. Okay. Great. Maybe next year? Okay. All right. Very good. destination PhD will make your dissertation life easy. All right? Very good. And okay. 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 Very good. I like that. He said, I'm thinking about adding another degree. I have a friend, Dr. Stephanie Adams, and she did a workshop with a couple of other friends who are also PhDs, and they called the workshop 3 Degrees of Freedom. So we talked about freedom earlier, and the 3 degrees of freedom, it was the bachelor's, master's, and PhD, because it opens certain doors. So as you add degrees, that's wonderful. All right? Now, what I had originally planned to do, I think we've covered it already in the morning. So instead of the 30 to 45 minutes, let's do the 10-minute version, and then I'm going to get out of the way so that we can continue to answer your questions. Maybe 15 minutes. All right, let me know when we're ready.
Ready?
PowerPoint? Okay. All right. So my original title is Focus on Purpose, which I think is really, really applicable to everything that we've talked about today. I believe really the essence of everything that we've discussed is that element of purpose. God is a God of purpose, therefore you have purpose. Repeat, I have purpose. All right, very good. Now, helps to turn it on. Uh-oh. Okay, he did that, I didn't. Okay. All right, let's go with it. So, you guys should know the answer to this. Where's the richest place in the world? Graveyard. Absolutely. It's a quote by Miles Monroe, who I understand is he was a very good friend of your pastor. All right? So, why is the graveyard the richest place? People died while their gifts were still in them. And he talked about the potential principle. And as an engineer, I know that there's something called potential energy and there's something called kinetic energy. So potential means something can occur. It doesn't mean that it is occurring, but it can. So one of the biggest enemies to action is really, you trying to help me? Okay. Yay, team. They look the same. Okay. All right. So what I want to, yeah, there we go. Potential principle. Sometimes when we look at ourselves, we don't see what God sees. And you said, I'm trying to turn this into a church service, but I am a pastor in my other life. In addition to running I'll say a successful company, but it's just who I am. And I believe, I think God is just good, you know? And one of my former pastors said this once, that when God speaks to us, because he doesn't have any insecurities or fears, he doesn't speak to you with the filter of insecurity and fear. He speaks to you as who you are. So when I talk about purpose, one of my mottos in life is focus on purpose. So every morning I wake up and I say, God, what is purpose today? So I want you to consider asking God that question when you're trying to find your why, when you're trying to find that thing that you're really good at. People will pay you for that, okay, that effortless thing, simply ask God, because He's the one who put it there. All right? Now, when people look at you, other people, they don't see everything that God sees. Does that mean it's not there? I can't hear you. No. All right? So you are a person of purpose. All right, let's move. Repeat. I have purpose. I have purpose. Okay? Now, you have what it takes to achieve God's purpose for you. I have. The word says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that your soul knows right well. Do I always remember that? No. But is it still true? Okay. How many people have heard of David in the Bible? David was the man after God's own heart, right? Did David ever mess up? Many times. Okay? I was reading Psalm 19 last week, and I love Psalm 19. It's not very long, just read it. It starts with, wow, you look in creation and you see the glory of God, and it ends with, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O God, my strength and my redeemer. Right? But there's a whole lot of stuff in the middle. And one of those things in the middle is like, who can understand his errors? Who can understand, like, the things that go wrong? Who can understand their failures? As I'm reading this, God spoke to me, and you know what he said? David was already David when he messed up and tried to take another man's wife. He was still David. He was still the one after God's own heart. So, I need everybody to think about it. Have you ever messed up? Did God forgive you? Does he still love you? Are you still you? So repeat, I'm still me. I still have purpose. All right. So that's number one, because I have to believe that if God has purpose for my life, I have what it takes to achieve what he wants me to do. So I have it, so now I can. Right? So I can pursue purpose, but should I go aimlessly? No. These gentlemen gave us some very practical steps, things that we can do that will help us succeed. So I need to be strategic. So should I wake up every morning and say, whatever happens today, that's what happens? No. I should wake up, God, what is purpose today? I should be very, very focused. I should have a strategy. Now, let's talk. I lost it. There we go. I showed you this earlier about the neurons, and you create a neural network. And I told you that you can process things in chunks. So a chunk is about 4 words, right? And, okay, let's do an exercise. Who wants to play? I need a volunteer. Oh, you want to play? Okay, that's all right. I have a volunteer. All right, you ready? Oh, no, it's you. All right, who wants to play? Come on. All right. Now, okay. Are you married? All right, let's just say you are happily married. Very happily married. All right. And he treats you as well as my husband treats me. Which, by the way, I'm in birthday season right now. Now, notice I said season. I start celebrating a month ahead. I go 2 months after it's 3 months. And I get a present every day during birthday season. And this year it's been a really good season because my hubby, it had a nice little bow on it and everything. But my hubby got me a new red. Red's my favorite color. Is it? Okay, he got me a new red Mercedes SUV. for the birthday. Just cause, amen? He's Mr. Mackey. Woo! All right. So, you very happily married. And your hubby said, baby, on your way home, can you pick up a couple of things from the store? We need some milk and bread. And you say, okay, baby. Now, what are you going to the store to get? Milk and bread. All right, very good. Oh, and by the way, he wrote a check for it. Okay? Come on now. I'm proud to say I've never had a car payment in my entire life. Okay? Very good. Amen. Amen. Because delayed gratification, you wait till you can write the check. Okay? So we didn't get the car 3 years ago. We got it this year. Okay. Milk and bread. Then he says, you know what? We're getting a little low. Can you get us some bananas and apples and strawberry, kiwi, blueberries if they have some, and some biscuits and bacon, shredded cheese, you know that sharp one we like, the Tillamook. And then can you pick up, yeah, you better get some Tide and Clorox, and we're low on the dark, not the regular one, but the dark one. And they have chips on sale. I want the lightly salted. I know you like the barbecue, but you have to buy 3 to get the price, so get, whatever on the third one. And some Dr. Pepper 7-Up, Coke, but you have to buy 5. So, maybe another Coke, maybe another Dr. Pepper. So, what are you going to the store to get? Lord. Milk and bread.
The dark or light? Bananas, strawberries, kiwi.
That's good enough. Point is, you can't remember, right? Okay. Exactly. Here's the point. If the way your brain is structured, you have a little part right about here that's called the hippocampus. It is your short-term memory area. It can only hold about 4 words at one time. Period. End of story. If you don't repeat it within 3 seconds, it's wiped out. It's gone, and that's normal. All right? So why would I expect you to be able to read a chapter, close the book, and remember what you just read? Because that's not the way your brain learns. That's not the way it remembers stuff. Okay? So in order for me, thank you. In order for me to remember something, I need to put it in that chunk format, less than 4 words. And then B, I need to repeat it. Now, I just made up the list, but I could repeat the list to you, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I put the list in categories. The first category was fruit. And then it's organized based on how my Walmart is laid out. And then I went to the little breakfast section, the little dairy section, okay, and then the meat is next to it. And then I went to the detergent aisle, and then I went to the chip and the Coke aisle, right? So if I broke it up that way, then you would be able to remember. But I need to repeat it, 3 seconds or it's gone. But if I don't repeat it again, within 60 minutes, it's gone. 24 hours, or it's gone. 7 days, or it's gone. But when I repeated those intervals, that's the quickest, most efficient method to move information from a short-term memory area to a longer-term memory area. So since I know that about the brain, and I know the brain can only handle one chunk of information, because if it's longer than a chunk, the brain has to break it up into chunk sizes and then put them back together to make meaning. So since I know that, we have, thank you, a method of reading. It's called bullet point reading, such that the average person retains 10 to 30% of what they read or hear. But when you do our method of reading, you retain 80 to 95% of what you read or hear. So whether you are in school or in business, if you remember more than your colleague or than the other person in your class, you're going to excel faster than them. True? So just operating, given how the brain naturally prefers to function, it creates a competitive advantage for you. That's why when we train C-suite folks like them, and we show them just, here are a couple things you can do based on how your brain likes to work. Do those things, cut time in half, time on task in half, all right? Now, this is a summary of Guaranteed 4.0. We teach people how to read so that they remember information. So now when you go to class, it's easier to process what the professor or the teacher is saying. Then you rewrite your notes after class in bullet format, because again, my brain can only hold about 4 words. So I put 4 words per line, 3 to 5. I rewrite those notes so that I remember what I learned in class. Then is my homework going to take less time or more time? Less time. So now my homework takes less time, and then the part of my brain that tells me whether or not I should procrastinate, y'all understand procrastination? All right? I'm less likely to procrastinate because now I think the homework's going to be easy. It's going to take less time. So I go ahead and just do it and get it out of the way. Then, if I have questions, I go see my teacher or my professor because now I am confident in my ignorance, meaning I feel like I can ask a somewhat intelligent question, so I'm much more likely to go see my professor or my teacher. And the ultimate is what we call a BPC, bullet point concept. Then I analyze homework, quizzes, and I look at the problems, ask the question why, so I make sure that I'm understanding the principle, not just working for the right answer, but I understand principles and concepts. Why is this the correct answer? And then all those bullet points, bullet point reading, bullet point notes, bullet point concept, they all go into my bullet point notebook. And anytime I have free time, I review it. I'm repeating 360, 24/7, and I make straight A's. So here's the bottom line. If you take one thing today, one thing that these gentlemen shared, one thing that I shared, it could change your life. Just one thing. Because most people, when they're quote unquote learning something, they just try to memorize it and then regurgitate it for the test. And then what happens? It's gone. You don't even remember it, don't have a clue. But when you do a method where you put things in order, in the order in which the brain likes it, you can go from the lowest form of learning, which is just memorization, beyond understanding. You can start actively applying what you're learning, critically analyze, so that you have such a solid foundation, you are now in a position to do what they call evaluate things so that you can create new thought. And people pay you for the problem you solve. Okay? The more intense the problem is, the more they pay you. Okay? So you want to learn how to learn the way God designed your brain, simply to develop a competitive advantage. So whether you're in school, thinking about going to school, you can walk away with those principles. Okay? So, somebody say I have. Okay, so I have purpose. All right? And then, because God said I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can achieve purpose, but I want to be strategic about it. So I have, yes. And I can achieve a little louder. Purpose. All right? So I have, I can, and I will. Now, persist. Use the word persist earlier. Okay? The bottom line is whatever I believe, and Mary Kay said this, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you're still right. Okay? Now, I believe I could have it all, do it all. Okay? And, you know, this may not be your journey, but this was my journey. I didn't get married until I was 50. Didn't want to get married, wasn't looking, wasn't incomplete. I was doing life, doing my thing. All right? But the reason, I was engaged 3 times and broke it off every time. Right? Not because I was resistant to the concept of marriage, because I am God's little princess. And I know that. And the word says that every good and perfect gift comes from above, comes down from the Father of lights, no variableness, no shadow of turning. So if it's not good and perfect, not God. And I'm not going to waste my time. But it's good, y'all. I married the right man at the right time. It's good. So I want to wait on God for everything. You see that? And I'm telling you, he absolutely will bless you. I have, I can, and I will. Okay? So I will achieve all that God has for me because I believe I can. And he gives me tools and strategies to do that. Everything in his word, if you just read his word, it's a roadmap on how to do everything these gentlemen said do. Promise, promise. Okay, I'm supposed to be doing the short version. Let's get out of here. I'm clicking and I don't see anything. Help. Advance. Somebody. Okay. 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 All right, touch your head, everybody, real quick. Repeat after me. My brain is in charge. My brain is in charge. All right, I want you to pay yourself big money with your brain. Here's the bottom line. Most people don't realize this, but, well, you know this part. Your earning potential is higher every degree you get. Hello? Okay? But the part that most people don't realize is that when you graduate from college with a high GPA, your salary is higher than someone with an average GPA. The difference is generally somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000, depending on your major. Okay? But $10,000 is not a lot of money. That's chump change in the greater scheme of your earning potential. She's like, oh, it seems like a lot of money to me. Trust me, baby. Okay, how old are you? 18? Okay, listen to what they said. I promise you, 10 grand will be chump change. Okay, when people call you and ask for a donation for St. Jude or whatever you say, how much y'all need? Okay, there you go, baby. Okay, now, this is the part. Just an extra $10,000 in your starting salary, after you graduate from college, that grows to about an extra $2.7 million over the course of your career. Okay, that's a whole lot more than 10,000, isn't it? Okay, 10,000. Say this with me. 10,000, chump change. There you go, baby. All right, but an extra 15 in that starting salary, that's about a $7 to $8 million increase over the course of your career. 20,000. That's about $20 million. You remember the story about Miguel? He's doing quite well. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I mentioned this before. Education is not just about money. It's really about choices. More education, more choices. More education with better grades, even more choices. All right? So we're going to walk up in the will of God here because I have purpose, I can achieve purpose, and I will achieve purpose. So the G4 story is really simple. And I want to go back to the three things. Oh, let's the way we're going to win the book today is I need you to answer some questions based on the presentation. All right? So the first question is, what are the three things that he told you to do to identify purpose, to identify your why? Can anybody tell me what the three things are? Just stand up if you want to play. Okay. Tell me what the three things are. Effortless when you do it.
It's like you
Lose track of time.
No one else can replicate it.
They can't do it the way you do it. All right. Now, what year are you in?
I'm in 9th grade.
You're in the 9th grade? Okay. All right. So I have the college book with me, but I am going to give you the guaranteed A+, which is the high school book. Is that good? And do you like to read, or would you prefer to watch a video? Read? Okay. All right. That's a good answer, by the way. Whew. So uncommon. All right. Yay, team. All right. So when I was 9 years old, I told my mother that I wanted to travel, make speeches, and help people. This goes to your question about we have this imagination. And I told her at 9, travel, make speeches, help people. So I thought I was going to be a politician because I thought that's what they did. And then I found out better. All right. We just leave that alone. Just leave alone. Okay? But I also told her that I had solved the world's problems. And I was half grown. The first half of life had been a breeze, and I was sure the second half would be equally easy, right? And that, you know, when I grew up, I was going to solve the world's problems because I figured out if everybody would be nice to everybody, everything would be all right. And that's what I thought at 9 years old, all right? And I was right, okay? But here's the point. When people ask me, what's my why, I don't have to wonder. I travel, I make speeches, I help people. That's what I do. Well, Guaranteed 4.0, whether it's the academic side or the corporate side, we travel all over the world, we make speeches, and we help people. I get paid to talk, right? Guess what? I like to talk. And I'm really good at it. True? It is effortless for me. As a matter of fact, my goal in high school, I wanted to be the valedictorian or the salutatorian because they got to make a speech at graduation. You too? It wasn't about, I want the distinction and the honor. I wanted to talk because that's what I do. You know? My man said he was in the 2nd grade, and I fell out because in the 2nd grade, I had a teacher. I was good because kindergarten and 1st grade, both of my teachers were folks who went to my church. So they knew me, and they knew how to make it work. But 2nd grade, I got this new teacher. And she wrote on my report card, she made me miss the A honor roll because I got a C in conduct because she said I couldn't sit there and be still and be quiet. And I am not kidding you. My thought was, she talks all the time. When is it my turn? Okay? So anyway, so the talking thing is natural, it's effortless. I promise. Okay? Now, So it's effortless. And then, what was the second thing? Lose track of time. Didn't I tell y'all this was going to be the 10-minute version? And it's not, right? Okay. And then the third one is nobody can do what I do. Not like me. Come on. Nobody. Even when I do corporate consulting, we walk in and we tell them, look, we are different than any other corporate consultants you will ever hire. Number one, because we care. I'm not just in here making you a rubber stamp just like the last company. We actually care about the people. Everybody in our organization is a Christian, and that's the bottom line. At the end of the day, I got to stand before God. Was it a good day for God? Because he cares about the people, so I have to. So, in Guaranteed 4.0, the reason it's successful is because it is founded and based on the Word of God. That's it. Which is why I'm only the president. I will never be the CEO because he's our CEO. So that's our story. But the bottom line is I have, I can, I will. So what's your bottom line? I have, I can, I will. Say that. Okay? So you will do what? Now, earlier they asked you to write down 5 things that you want. What I want you to write down now is based on our definition. I want you to close your eyes, and when you close your eyes, what am I asking you to do? What did he tell you to do earlier? Visualization. Right? Okay? Good. So I want you to visualize, what is purpose? What is it that God has called me to do, that he has made effortless for me? What is it that I can just get caught up, lose track of time? And I'm good at it. My bishop says this all the time. I see you in the future, and you look much better than you look right now. I see you in the future, and you look much better than you look right now. All right, open those eyes. If you didn't, I want you to think about these questions. I submit to you that you answer these 5 questions every time you make a decision in life. If somebody's thinking about going back to school, right? Or you're thinking about those 5 things you wrote down that you want. Or you're thinking about the purpose exercise. Most people really do want to know God's purpose for their life. And he said only about 10% of the folks really get to do that. I'm in that 10%. I don't wake up and go to work. I wake up and go play every day because I love what I do. One of the things that I'll add to the 3 in terms of identifying purpose, whatever you would do for free. If nobody was paying you and you could do it, what would you do? I would be doing what I'm doing. All right. So, 5 questions of life. What do you want? What are the challenges you'll face in getting what you want? How can you meet those challenges? Number 4 is the biggie. What do I have to give up to get what I want? What gratification do I have to delay to get what I want? And is it worth it? I submit to you, if it's part of God's purpose and plan for your life, the answer is yes. All right? I'm out of the way. Thank you. This one is yours? Okay, good.
I know we can do better than that. You know, we are very, of course I forgot to turn on my mic. We are very respectful of your time. If it just depended on me, I would have stayed a little longer. It's very hard to get Dr. Mikey on the calendar, trust me. We tried 2 years ago, and a week before the event, she was like, I'm sorry. You know, I really wanted to come, but I'm really sorry. And getting this gentleman to come is very, very hard. And we appreciate your time here. And we really appreciate your coming here. Can we give them a round of applause, please? You know, Dr. Mikey make me realize that every time I speak or talk, I actually don't make any effort. That's what we want to do best. But let's go back to the questions. We had some pending questions before we stop. Can we get back to them? One of them was for, you guys do what you do and you've done it at the highest level anybody could ever dream of. What are the things that you would tell the people like us today in terms of your discipline, the things that you do in every day that can help some of us, propel some of us to get where we want to be? And if any of you gentlemen would like to comment on what Dr. Mikey has just said, feel free to go ahead. And I promise in about 10 minutes, maybe 15, we'll be out of here. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to make this real simple, but it's not real easy. Discipline. I hate discipline because discipline sounds like I have to give up something. But what I've found, though, is that in life, the difference between people who are incredibly successful and the people who are either average or unsuccessful is that ingredient, it's discipline. When I think about discipline, I think about, one, delayed gratification, but I also think about putting yourself into a position of uncomfort. What does that mean? If any of you have ever played athletics of any type, ran track, played basketball, volleyball, whatever sport you've ever done, you know what discipline is because you're putting yourself into a physically uncomfortable situation. When I was in right after college, I ran track for the Air Force for several years, and I was good. I ran the 400. I was really, really good. And someone asked me one time, how do you prepare to be very, very good at running the 400 relay, or 400-yard dash at the time? And I said, there's only one thing that separates me from the person who comes in second place, and that's the fact that I know that I am in a lot of pain while I'm doing that race, but so is he. And all I think about is I want to endure more pain than the person who is running next to me because I want the victory more than he does. And that's it. That's the type of mindset that goes into discipline. I have never met a successful person that sleeps in the morning. I have never met a successful person that doesn't read at least one book a month. I have never met a successful person that doesn't have a mentor or someone who is helping them get to their next level. I have never met a successful person who doesn't have discipline. And all discipline means is I am going to stick to it longer than you, and that's going to make me successful. I have never met a successful person that doesn't have a series of failures. If you've ever read Michael Jordan's post, he says it openly. I got cut from basketball. I missed shots 5 million times. I was not strong enough. I was not tall enough. I was not fast enough. And that's what made me the best. The only thing that makes you successful is when you look in the mirror and say, I am going to endure. I am disciplined. Without it, you may finish the race, but you will absolutely finish at a level that is so much below what you could have done because there are only a few people who are willing to endure the pain of discipline. And I'm calling it pain because that's physically what it is sometimes, is that I don't like waking up at 5 o'clock every day to exercise. I don't, but I do it because it disciplines me to be different than the next person. I stand on stage and give presentations, and I was just calculating how much money people pay me for a presentation. It's $170 a minute. Every minute that I am standing on stage in front of another audience, it's $170 every minute. It is. It's a true story. I think it's kind of crazy too. But
Preach.
Do not send me any bill. Please. I cannot afford it, okay? I'm just telling you.
it's a true story. But the point being is that there is a certain level of discipline that just goes in the preparation and being capable to stand up with confidence and talk and engage people. And it doesn't just happen. It comes from discipline. I still read at least one book every month. Why? Because I keep thinking to myself, there's somebody else who's probably reading, one book every other month. So I'm going to read one book a month, period. I'm going to always do that. Why? Because I'm never satisfied and I'm never good enough. And I always feel like there's some other edge that I should have, period. So discipline is, in my opinion, foundational.
Amen.
I would add to that and kind of think of it more as a perspective. It's a mindset. I think when Chris is talking about discipline, I mean, for me, it's just changing your mindset, just how you see things. And respond to your question about the highest level, I kind of feel like not even close. Still trying to reach that. And I think that's the drive that keeps you going is you're still trying to be better, get better, excel, whether it's intelligence, whether it's finance, whatever it is. But from my view, I think it's more of a mindset. And I think once you have that mindset, it creates what's called a habit. All of us had to learn how to brush our teeth. Now you don't think about it because now it's just a habit. And I think if you don't think of it as a discipline, you just think of it as just part of your habit. It changes your perspective of it. All of a sudden, you're not thinking that it's hard. It's just something you just do because that's just part of what you've ingrained in yourself.
Thank you.
Amen.
Dr. Mackey, anything?
I'm actually trying to be quiet.
We certainly don't have you here to be quiet. So we don't mind you giving us some little more.
I'm just going to say focus on purpose. I would add one thing on how much he gets paid a minute to talk. And he said he likes to talk, right? You guys get that, right? It's effortless for him. And I get paid to talk. So if you think about it and do the math, like I can get paid. What is $10,000? Chump change, baby. Okay? I could get paid $20,000 to talk for as long as I've been here with you today. And that's normal. Normal. So you
There's
could.
no exaggeration, by the way.
Right,
She is not exaggerating. That's what speakers are paid.
right.
Period.
Okay? So you could get paid to do what you love. Actually, you want to get paid to do what you love because that's effortless. Time goes by quickly, all right? And nobody can do it as well as you. So whatever it is you love, God put that in you. So hello, let the light bulb come on. And go for it. Go for it.
That is amazing. We had two more questions, and those are the last that I'll take today. Chantel, you had one question.
Thanks. Hello, my name's Chantel. I'm about to start my freshman year in college, and I'm majoring in entrepreneurship. My question was, how did you figure out like what business you wanted to start, or like what business venture you wanted to go down? Like what question did you like ask yourself, or like what advice would you give to me, like on what type of business I would like to start, or how to figure it out?
Okay.
Thank you. And we take the second one. Go ahead.
Well, just the short version is just start with what God has placed in you. Like, I didn't intend to start a business. My undergrad is in chemical engineering. I'm doing chemie. My specialty is high octane gasoline. Hello? Okay? So I'm doing that, but he gave me this system to use to learn when I was in college. I shared it with other people. I used to do it on the side for free, but the request got to be so great that I had to make a decision. Am I going to continue in this path, or God, where do you want me? So ask God, like, what has he called you to do? And just think about what you enjoy. What's, if when you're not thinking about anything, what are you thinking about? That'll lead you. Okay? And so,
Gentlemen,
here we are.
anything?
Yeah, I kind of just follow that is what's in your heart, what's your passion, what do you enjoy? You start there, and it'll come. It'll come, and you don't know when. You may wake up one morning and say, I know what it is. It's that. And it may be something you know nothing about, but that's your passion, because that's where your heart is. You'll know.
Chris, anything?
That's good.
All right.
That's good.
Second question.
My name is Choa Ngoma. If you had to talk to your 25 younger self, or younger self, what would you tell them? What would you wish someone told you back then that would help you in your career or where you are right now?
Okay, the reason I'm smiling under the mask,
We could see that.
you can see that? Okay.
Your eyes are smiling.
Yes, because I wanted my last statement today to be this. There is a song by Mercy Me that's called Dear Younger Me. And I want everybody to listen to that song. And he basically says, Dear younger me, it's not your fault, like the mistakes that I made, because you didn't know any better, right? And if I had to give you advice right now, would I tell you the things to change, or would I still let you go through that, because those experiences, those failures didn't define me, but they refined me into who I have become. So
Preach.
what I take from that song and what I share with people all over the world is to live life with no regrets. So it's, my bishop says this, it's a wise man who learns from his own experiences. It's a wiser man who learns from his own experiences and from the experiences of others. So if I had to say one thing to dear younger you, right, it would simply be to do the things that you have heard today. Have a mentor who's in a position where you want to go. And listen, a mentor is not someone who gives you advice. A mentor is someone whose advice you listen to and follow. There's a big difference. So live life with no regrets. So do all the stuff they told you. Visualize, find you, 1, 2, 3, the 3 steps he gave you, bam, there it is. I have, I can, I will walk in the fullness of God's purpose for my life, and do you. Just do it. If you mess up, get up, learn from it, and keep it moving. So don't look back. Live life with no regrets. Know that God has you. He knows you're human. You're going to fall. You're going to get up. It's all good. Let it refine you, and enjoy life. Wake up happy. Woo! Okay. So,
Mr. Chris, Mr. Tyson, anything?
Yeah, I love that question because I think about it every day. And although there's nothing I would have done to change the experiences that I had at 25, I would have given myself a different set of advice because of the mindset that I did not have then that I have now. And that's one. So very simply, at 25, I always connected with things that happened to me. Failing out of college, it happened to me. Getting in a total car collision happened to me. The girlfriend I had at that age dumping me happened to me. I looked at all of those things as disappointments to my life, and I thought they all happened to me. In hindsight, what I realized is that nothing happened to me. It all happened for me. Had I not been at that intersection and the car hadn't plowed into me, my entire life at that point would have changed because I would have been still going to that same exact institution for education and would not have ever changed the direction. Had that girl never dumped me, I would still be probably today married to a person who was basically a meth head, which would have completely changed my career, my trajectory, and everything else. The advice I would have given my 25-year-old self is stop thinking that things are happening to you. They are happening for you. And even though they don't seem like they are helping you right now, they are actually educating you and preparing you for your best self because you're not living your best self. You can't. You don't have the physical capability of living your best self right now, which is why things are happening in your life which seem disruptive, but they're not. They're actually there to educate you and nudge you into the direction that you're supposed to, the course you're supposed to be taking. So stop feeling like the world is imploding upon you and realize that things are actually shaping up to elevate you to a position where you can actually provide a service for someone else. The other piece of that advice is you will never have joy in your life until you understand the service that you were born to provide for other human beings.
Yes.
You are here to serve. You are not here to receive. Although we get wrapped up with all the things that we receive, the only joy that ever will come into your life is when you figure out who you are here to serve and in what capacity. And when you begin to do that, everything changes. So that's what I've told myself.
And to add to that, the good old Paul said that we know all things do work together for the good of those who love God.
Amen.
That's a tough one. First of all, when I was 25, you couldn't tell me anything because I knew everything already. So I don't know if I've even listened to myself. The other thing I would say is, the other part of that is, I think when you go through the things you go through, I don't know if I'd be sitting here. I think that connects to what you're saying about as far as your experiences kind of bring you to where you are, or where you're going to be, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Part of that is the experience, but at the same time, you do need to have a certain level of, being able to listen. I think that's probably the key thing is listening. But for me, I think at 25, I'd probably tell myself, find your purpose. Because I think once you figure that out, sky's the limit. Once you know why you're here, what your purpose is, why you're created, why you're placed where you're placed, yeah, everything else will fall right in place for itself. But yeah, you couldn't tell me anything at 25.
That's amazing. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. Unfortunately, we can no longer take any questions. It was really an honor and a pleasure to be with y'all here. And can you give yourself a round of applause first to you? Thank you. Thank you for staying in. Thank you for staying locked in. Now I'll give it up to Pastor Advertis for helping us get these wonderful people here. We can do better than that. And all right, before I pass them the microphone, I've learned a few things from Craig Rochelle and Jim Quick, Tom Farrell. I watched a few of them. First question, in one statement, what's your purpose in life? One statement. How can you say your purpose in one statement?
Easy.
Go ahead.
I travel, I make speeches, I help people.
Awesome. Grace?
I remove barriers and bring out the best in other people.
Awesome. Mr. Tyson?
I guess when I leave, I want to make sure things are better than the way I left them.
Awesome. If you're not doing what you're doing now, second question, if you're not doing what you're doing now, what else would you be doing?
I would be CEO of an oil company.
I'd be a chef. I'd be a chef.
Artist.
That's awesome. Who are you most thankful for? If there's one person you can think of, who would it be?
I'm going to say the Godhead because then I get 3. No, I have to say my mother because she truly, truly dedicated her life to providing for us. She did.
Yeah, I hate to follow that one, but it was my mother also, who is no longer with me, but basically gave me confidence in everything I did, said, and even wanted to do. So yeah.
I don't know, maybe my brother. Yeah, it's probably my brother. Pulled me through a lot of things and was always there.
And the last one, what are 5 things you do every morning? Every morning. You wake up, 5 things.
Oh,
Let's go.
You could go first. I've been going first.
Oh, you can go.
If you don't do 5, it's okay. Up to 5. Or you
Yeah.
can go beyond 5.
Well, I'll tell you my routine. So I wake up early every morning. So I'm up by 5 o'clock. The very first thing I do is exercise. I do some form of exercise for at least 2 hours every day. I then do some level of meditation. So that's just what I call alone time, where I start thinking about and planning out my day. I then have some sort of education that I like to give myself every day. It's either a podcast or a book or a reference of some sort. I then go in and look at what I have to do for that day, and I make sure that I am even more prepared. I usually do that the night before, but I check it again for the next morning. And then I literally do something that like is going to seem weird, but I'm going to do it because you asked. There is this thing called a power stand. And the power stand that I do every day at the very beginning of the day, it actually sends different hormones through my system, which make me feel more confident. This is true, and you should do it if you've never done it. Here's a power stand.
Let's see it. All right. That's good.
If you do a power stand in front of the mirror every day and just look at yourself, what actually happens is your body secretes hormones, serotonin,
Yep.
and with that hormone, you actually think better, you're clearer, you're more confident, and everything else. It's simple, it's easy, but it works, period.
I'll read back the list. You wake up at 5 a.m., exercise, meditation, education, to-do list, and a power stand.
Yep. All right.
I don't have 5 things.
But that's because yours are so deep, you probably only need 1 or 2.
Well, the funny thing is the very first thing I do, and this is all connected to a story. So I got this book, and the way I got this book was from somebody I used to work with when we were traveling. He came out of his hotel and said somebody left their stuff in this hotel, and it was like a gift basket. He was handing it out to coworkers. One of the things in there was this book. And I said, let me have the book. I had no idea what the book was. The book ended up being a book of spiritual wisdom. For every single day of the year, there's a reference to a scripture. And every day, first thing I do, it doesn't matter what time it is, before I leave, I read that that whole book, that scripture for that day of that wisdom. That's the number one thing I do. The other thing I do is, like Chris talked about reading, I'm reading a book now on Cicely Tyson. It's like a bibliography. I always try to find something to read. I always feel like there's so much that I just don't know, And the more I know, the more I realize how much I don't know. It's kind of funny. You feel like you're really learning things and you're being exposed and going to school, getting an education. And all it does, it just makes you realize there's a lot you just don't know.
Right.
And so I do that, every day, try to read something and some form of exercise. I'm not, doing any 100 push-ups or anything. I may walk around the block or something like that, but those are probably the three things I do.
Awesome. So, thank you. The three you say you wake up to a meditation book, and then you read and you exercise. Dr. Maggie?
All right. So, every morning when I wake up, I sing a song, one of two songs. I either sing good morning to the Godhead, right? Y'all want me to sing? Good morning, Jesus. It's like a little kid song, all right? And so I sing that, and I wake up, and then I read my Bible every morning, but I have to brush my teeth first. I don't know why. Okay. And I did not mention this earlier, but the Christian version of Guaranteed 4.0 is called Remember the Rhema. And the subtitle is Heart-to-Heart Communication with God, Learning to hear His voice loud and clear. So when I say I read my Bible, I read it in this fashion, meaning that I stop and summarize the Rhema word that he spoke to me that day. So the next day when I wake up, I'm going to read that Rhema word that he spoke to me and start from there and go to the next scripture. So, yes, good morning, Jesus. And if it's a rough day, like you didn't get enough sleep, I don't sing good morning, Jesus. I sing I feel like going on, which tells me you don't feel like getting up, you don't want to get up, but you're going to, and you're going to make it. Okay, so it's one of those two songs. Then I read scripture, and then I kiss my husband because I like him, and we get to work together, travel together, live together, and I still miss him if I'm upstairs and he's downstairs. So when I tell you, woo! All right. So those are the big three. Then in terms of once I get to my desk, and there's certain things, your brain will help you with this. If you have a place to do one thing and another place to do the second thing, even if it's at the same desk, if you shift the chair or shift your body, or if you have an L shape, so when I get here, I'm organizing for the day. I'm planning out everything that has to be done, even though I looked at it the night before. And the other thing is to read something that's going to be stimulating for your brain in terms of where you want to go. What's the next phase, the next season and purpose. So that's it. And I forgot the most important thing. This is similar to the power stand, I may add that. But I remind myself who I am. And I would encourage everyone to write a personal I am statement. So when it's a rough day, you can remind yourself, but if you say this every morning, I would do it in front of the mirror just like he said. So I will just tell you, I am Abraham's granddaughter. I'm the spitting image of my father, and when the day is done, my Savior is still my biggest fan. Sometimes I'm foolish and I'm fearful, but yet my Jesus loves me, and I know just where I stand. I am a child of God. That's who I am. So when you have an I am statement, it will empower you and release the right chemicals to your brain. So that was it, and it was probably more than 5.
That's amazing. Can we give them all a round of applause? As I return quickly to what Dr. Maki just said, she sings, she reads the Bible, remember the Rhema. She kisses her husband, organizes for the day, make her morning confession, reminding herself who she is. Isn't that amazing? You know, someone said genius leave trail, and successful people do. So follow what they say, write them down, and do them every day. The last thing I want to remind you, my name is Mark, and it's spelled with a C. Please give it up for Pastor Vertus.
Thank you, Mark. Every time Mark does this, he gets better at it. And can we give a round of applause for Mark? As I say thank you, this is time where I thank the guests for coming, but I just like to make it a little bit more personal. Thank you for coming. Can we, Mark, had you clap for yourself? Can you do it one more time for just being here? And I hope, did you learn something? Put your hand up if did you learn something? A thing or two, maybe? Okay, yeah. All right, so, as I thank you, that's my lovely daughter, Ayala, one of the future doctors. I told her she's going to have to take care of me, hopefully. But I'm going to start with a lady, because in my country, I know in America, they got it twisted here sometimes. You never be on the bus and a guy in America, I've been on a bus where guys are sitting and ladies are standing. You can't do that in my country. It's almost suicidal. Ladies are always first, in everything. But in America, we twist it a little bit. Men got their own little privilege, and I guess. So I just want to say thanks. I know all these people, and starting with Donna O, we call her Donna O. You saw her name up there. Doesn't like this doctor thing too much, very brainy. But I met her maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I am her accountant. So when she tells you she makes money, trust me, I know. I see when she sent her paperwork to do the tax, I'm like, Donna, man, what did you do this year? But and that's a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. So anyway, but I got to know Donna in a way that when we met, we connected, even though she was looking for a CPA or an accountant. But there was something she was looking for more than an accountant. There was somebody who knew the Lord. And so I think when she had an interview with me to kind of see if we're going to work together, things just clicked. Maybe 6, 7 years ago, I can't recall. But I've known her husband. He's really sweet, Milton. He and I talk a lot, Chris. We talk about, you gave your list, he and I, we always call, what list, what are you looking at, what I'm looking at. And so that's how I got to meet Donna. And even though she got her mask on, but you can see her better on the screen there. But she's a very lovely person. She came to teach here, but you can see she put God all into it, She's a pastor. She loves Jesus, and she makes him a part of her presentation. And so, Donna, thank you. On behalf of me, Mark, the young people, the church, the pastor, want to say thank you for being here, taking up your busy schedule, and for free. I couldn't pay her, trust me. There's no way. I mean, like she said, she was kind of being modest when she said 20,000, but technically more around 60 grand just for the time she spent here today. But she's walking away, and she's not sending me a bill. None of them, Chris or Tyson, none of them sending me a bill. But thank you again. And let's give her a round of applause. Thank you, Donna. Thank you so much. I'll make you last because you and I are going to fight after you. But no, because I joke with Tyson is my mentor in a different way. We'll talk about that. But Chris, I met Chris probably 6, 7 years ago as well at Vizient. I had just started a job there, and I met him with the CEO. Actually, they were standing outside the elevator, and I said, "Who's this black guy? He's in leader, senior vice president." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And when I look around in the whole company, I think there were only 2 black people that were even. I think he was the only black at that level. I mean, just one level from the president, the CEO. Anyway, but that being said, I met Chris, and we connected, and I said, no, this guy got something I need. And I connected with him right away. Because you know what? Like Chris said, and Tyson, if you want to be somewhere, hang out with the people that will get you there. Don't go, the Bible says, what's the thing? Bad company corrupt what? Good behavior. So I find the people that will get me to that next level. So when I found Chris, Apart from Chris being a millionaire, Chris saw me and decided to mentor me and tell me stuff. He decided to tell me, say, hey, you can do certain things in this company. And I connected with him, and he had a whole department. And I always, when something happened, I used to go to Tyson, but I used to go to Chris, and I would just call Chris. I would just walk. People, you don't see Chris in the company. I mean, he was pretty high. To see him, you had to go through his secretary, make an appointment. But I went straight to his office because we had that connection, network, right? And he always told me, one time I was supposed to work on his team. I didn't get the job, but he gave me a speech. I'm like, crazy. But I thank God I didn't get that job because it was not the right place for me at the time. And he doesn't know, but we talked about it after. So Chris he mentors people. He just likes to develop people. He likes to help. So it's not all about him making money and being rich and driving all the Maserati, Ferrari, and I mean, he can go buy one tomorrow if he wants. I mean, but to get there, he's very humble. You see, Chris, I noticed none of you came to meet and greet. Take advantage just to know him. That's why we did this conference, to shake hands. You know, I hate to say it, but these people, they are not accessible easily. But we're grateful to God that they came to join us today. So, Chris, thank you for everything. And hope you can come again sometime as we develop this thing more, you and Donna. Thank you. Let's give Chris a hand. So Tyson, the first time I met Tyson, about the same time, 6 years, 7 years, Tyson said, what's your role right now? I said, manager. He said, do you want to be a vice president? I said, Tyson, before you be a vice president, you got to go to director, senior director, then AVP. That's how our company was struck. Tyson said, no. Some of the people who are vice president, you're better than them. You know, so he's my career coach, but he would tell me, he sends me a job, like just quite recently. He say, hey, you're already a CEO. Why are you being a director at that company you work for? I know you're a junior executive, but take the CEO role. Go. So that's my career mentor, but he wants me to be the CEO like tomorrow. So, you know, for any company I join. So we've had some moments together in his office. Again, you know, one of the only black that was at that level, vice president. He went from, when I got to know Tyson, he was only a manager of Asian. And when I slept and woke up after a year or two, he was vice president. I didn't know how he did it. And vice president in a very white IT world. And Chris, you know, that IT world is pretty white, but he made it up there. So Tyson, again, thank you so much. The connection I enjoy with all of you guys, but thanks for being here. And I'm not going to hold us, but thank you so much. And let's give a round of applause for Tyson.
I'm going to still send you those jobs. CFO, CEO. You're already there, man. You're waiting for them to catch up to you.
I know. Thank you. You see, that's how he talks to me every day. And one thing I'll say about Chris, my biking, some of you, I ride bike a lot, right? My wife, you know, she encourages me. I bike all the time, 50, 60. Before Chris came here, how many miles you think he biked this morning before coming here? Who can guess? Just a guess, quick guess.
36.
You're still too low. He did 60 miles on the bike this morning. And I'm not talking about the trainer where you're in your garage and doing your little thing. He's on the road and he's going like maybe 20, 22 miles an hour. He did 60 of that before coming to this training today. Usually I do about 50 on Saturday morning too, but I got that from him. And you know what he just told me? I got to say this. I was trying to be cool. I told him, I said, Chris, I no longer ride the 1,500 bike. I bought my first bike was 1,005, and I just bought one for 4,500. So I think I'm cool now. I said, hey, Chris, I just bought a $4,200 bike, road bike to ride on the road. You know what he told me? He said, oh, man, yeah, I just got a $15,000 bike. I felt diminished, you know. But of course, it's for your health and different. And we got a photo shoot after here, by the way. And Mark, I'll let you, before I pray, I'll let you wrap up. But again, those are things. And Donna O. God, yeah. Woo! Great. And so that's the connection. And again, thank you, and thank you. And no bills. Let's give them a round of applause. Mike, if you want one last word so I can pray and so we can go to the photo shoot.
The last thing, of course, just thanking the gentleman and Dr. Mikey. I'm sorry. I always tell my wife the day I get a PhD, she's gonna call me Dr. Husband. So I really respect the doctorate degree. I really do respect that, and I encourage Mr. Tyson to call his wife doctor, but he doesn't. his wife has
Yeah,
his
she's
PhD
doctor.
In statistics and mathematics. So she.
She's too smart for her. The whole family's smart. They wake up in the morning to start doing calculus. That's how they started.
All right, guys. I know. We gotta go. So we have our photo booth in the back, as I told you before. If you need my contact, please reach out to me. I'll give you a call so that you can have more information about how to access those pictures, or you can just text the number that's on the flyer, so you can access the picture. But please don't go. Take an opportunity to get your LinkedIn profile upgraded or updated, rather. And thank you again. The next time we have this event, we definitely keep you in the loop. Check our website, www.rcscusa.org. That's where you can find more information under the page events. You know everything about the events that are going on here at our church. With that being said, I'll let Pastor Vertis lead us in prayers.
And those online watching, sorry,
thank
we
you.
didn't forget you. Thank you for joining us, and hope you learn a lot too as well.
And next time, with all the technical issues I know we had today, we try to make sure that you have a better experience. But we post this session later on our YouTube page, which is us, Resurrected Christ International Church TV. The name of the church plus TV at the end. Thank you.
Can you stand with me? We're going to pray, if you don't mind. And if you need any contact from our guest speaker, please contact me. They'll be glad. If you have any further question, I can forward to their email and they will respond. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for this wonderful time. You've blessed us with so many good people, smart, brainy, and just willing and humble people. These people are so humble. Bless their families. Bless the rest of their lives. Give them health. Father, the time they've invested today, oh God, you reward them in a supernatural way that they will say, wow, we've given back, and Lord, you've blessed us. Even with their right mind, peace of mind, and health, grant it unto them and their family and their children. May they never see anything difficult that they cannot overcome in your name. Father, even for those that are here, we thank you. We bless you and we give you praise. As they go out, oh God, we pray that they will compartmentalize their brain and whatever they've learned today that they will put it into practice. We thank you, we worship you, and we give you all the praise. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for coming, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Y'all have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Okay. Hi,